and make you be like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm doing crap. This is just to help you to get into ministry time, right? Through the week, the months, the years, where is your focus? You know, where is your focus? What's your number one priority? Give you a moment to think about that. Because when you look at like men and women in the Bible, right, and like Abraham, right, and he was given a promise by God. He had faith in God. He had hope in God. He loved God. He loved people. And then something went terribly wrong for him because he just totally screwed up everything that God told him he was going to do. You know what I mean? God's like, I'm going to give you a son. And Abraham's like, oh, but I'm old. And God's like, I'm going to give you a son. And he's like, okay, God, I believe you. And then, him and his wife are like, we're not going to have a son. We're old. It's not going to happen. I'm not having a son. So I know, okay, you sleep with the servant and we'll have a son. But that didn't make sense to me because I'm like, but you don't have a son though together. Those two have a son. Those two don't. Anyway, so then but then God does give them a son. And it's like, he should have trusted in God. His focus wasn't really on what God was saying to him, do you know what I mean? It was like, okay, I like what God said, I'm approving of that plan, but in the meantime, I'm kind of struggling a little bit with that, and it's like the focus went from the promise and it went from God onto how will I fulfill this, you know what I mean? And it's not your job to fulfill anything, if you get me. Because, like the song that you guys were singing about, I have a plan for you, and it's great, and it's filled with me. But that's not for you to be like, okay, right, what can I do? I know, I can lead worship, I'm trying to do that, I think everyone can do it, I'm going to do that. Like, it's not, no. You need to keep your focus on God, right? Every single man and woman that you look at in the Bible, when stuff was going, why was it? It was because their focus wasn't on God. Like King David, again, for example, when he, ended up having an affair, having another baby, and then killing someone and getting him drunk first and then killing him, it was because his focus wasn't on God, right? His focus wasn't on doing what God told him to do. And if you want to, like Pastor Gunn was talking about having a spirit of honor, and if you're like, oh yeah, no, I actually do need to think about that, I need to really work on this whole spirit of honor, then listen to God. You know what I mean? Like Pastor Gunn had the opportunity to pray for his mum, and he was like, okay, God, what can I do to honor my mum? So he's actually listening. He's not he's not taking 10 hours out of his day to hear God. He's just like in the moment. He's just like, God, what are you saying to me? What do you want me to do here? And that's, what we need to start practicing, and then we get faith, hope, and love, And so when you're focused on God, it's, you got faith, you got hope, and then you can love people. Because it's easier to love people when you're focused on God, you know what I mean? Because maybe, you're like, someone's just absolutely doing your head in, and you're just like, ah. But like when you're focused on God, then God will be like, hey, yeah, go buy them a little bottle of perfume. And then you're like, okay. So you go and buy them a bottle of perfume, you give it to them, and they're like, oh my gosh, it's the best present ever! And then the whole situation changes because you're loving. That's a bit of a silly example, but you get what I'm saying. Yeah. Right. So, well, let's we'll do ministry stuff then, and go. Are we guitarist?